Welcome back to another episode of CFS Show with your host, Primo Galisi. Today, I want to take this opportunity, to tell you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Our channel has been growing. I want to thank everyone for taking the opportunity, but don't forget to comment and make sure you like this video. This helps us continue to provide the education that needs to be out there for the general public so they can actually learn. If you never watched our channel before, I can tell you 3 things that you need to know. 1, we're here to provide context and content so that you can actually learn. 2, we're here to explain to you different fundamental things you need to know about business. And 3, we're hoping that any content we put out allows you to learn the lesson of making yourself whole. Making yourself whole means if you put $1,000 to start the business, that you get the $1,000 back. That you're always planning when you're running your business, that you have a goal in place that not only can you pay yourself payroll as if you went and worked a regular job, but you also can get your original investment back. And if you don't take it back this year, next year, or 5 years from now, it's always available to you in a bank account. That is the most important thing. Too many entrepreneurs are actually getting paid from dealing with clients, but not having retained earnings. They also are not able to pay themselves to make them whole. One of the things that you need to know whenever you're watching our channel, we focus on those areas. Our job is to make sure that you are the employer in your local community so that anybody can get a job by coming to your place of employment and you provide those jobs. In America, there's so many families taking their children to school to maintain another business's wealth. That's right, not their own. But if you're the entrepreneur, you are needed. How come? Because all these parents are taking their kids to school so that you have employees. And you need to make sure that you're the position that you can provide the job for these employees when they're ready to maintain your wealth. On today's episode, I'm going to jump right into it where we deal with the alligators. Every entrepreneur who's in business every year begins to get into deeper and deeper and deeper water. Now, the water that I'm talking about is not a metaphor. It means the longer you're in business, the more you can be attacked by another entrepreneur. You wake up in the morning and you say to yourself that I'm ready, I got my business, but you're taking it for granted. In America, we all have, in every state, there is a state corporation office, which allows a C corporation or an LLC or a local company may go through from a sole proprietor to be able to start a business. The sole reason these businesses are being started today is to put you out of business. You and me out of business. Their goals is to replace weaker companies in the marketplace by being the most dominant one. Now, you have to understand that means that there's alligators in the water. And when there's alligators in the water, it means you have the opportunity to be removed from being able to swim in this ocean because they're going to kill you. How are they going to kill you? They're going to take away all your customers, your payment schedule, the way you get paid. You're going to have more bills that come in faster than you get your invoices. And if that takes place, you've been eaten by an alligator. Every company is created in spite of your company. There is no company that was ever created for your benefit. It's always for theirs. They sell products to get yours. That's why so many people are buying for our time, whether it's from social media or whether you're driving on the highway. You see all these companies out there saying, give me your money. And each one, different gas stations, different grocery stores are all bidding for the opportunity to put the other one out of business. And that is the alligators in the water. So if you started your company today and you only have yourself or maybe 2 partners, you have to know that there's some bigger alligators in that river. And you're going to be at the point where you get to you don't see them coming because they lay low and they ambush predators. So when you're thinking that I can just get into business and all the customers are going to come to me, I'm sorry to tell you, we're going to talk about the options of an entrepreneur and understand that there's alligators that's already here and they are bigger than you. And their job is to eat you. Let's look at a couple points you need to know about. Every entrepreneur has options. Everyone do. Every time we wake up, we have options. We can either get bigger or we can actually delay our growth. And that's going to hurt us because remember, every day we're in business, we're walking in deeper and deeper water. What's the deeper and deeper water? The longer you're in business, you're going to get to the point where you can no longer stand up. You're going to have to pedal. You're going to have to float. How come? Because the longer you're in business, the more alligators and the bigger they are. And the bigger they are means they need water so they can go down deep to ambush. So if you are up to your neck in responsibilities, that is, your company has grown and you got 10 employees, you went from 10 to 50, from 50 to 100, you're no longer standing in water. You're treading. You're treading. And you got to be able to balance the set of skills that you had when you first was standing in water to when you got into ambush water. So here are the 5 things you got to deal with when you're dealing with other entrepreneurs that went to their state, filed their company, and they trying to eat you. 1, fight the alligator off with every ounce of energy you have. Every day your job is to be able to go from swimming to building a boat that you ride over that the alligators can't hit and knock over. You don't want to have a flotation device. There's people who've been in business for 7 years and they actually operate their business on a flotation device. They know it too. They know they just 1 or 2 bad months away from going out of business. That's a flotation device with alligators who got sharp teeth and they got the pressures. You don't want to be in a situation like that. So you got to fight the alligator off. Here's the second thing. Distract the alligators with food. And when we say distracted with food, we don't mean use your own arm. Some people like to swim in water with alligator-infested waters. And when they do, they end up getting their arm bit because they use their arm as a way to block the alligator. Now, you've probably seen that if you've ever been sued before. You've probably seen that if you got involved with an investor and the investor decided they want to be a partner and then it caused a strain. You use your arm. What's going to happen? You're going to be dragged under and it's going to have delays. It can even kill your business. Number 3, swim like a boat engine. Now, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to know that you do have to have like an engine in your thighs because it's going to take everything from your mind, the trigger that I got to do. Winter's coming. I got to generate money. I have to. So you're going to have to use your legs. My question is, do you have the endurance? Are you in shape? Most of us come to the office. And I said this early on, I used to come to my office and I would sit down and I would plan out my day. But I ended up spending the whole day in my office. This was years ago. I spent the whole day in my office and nothing was accomplished to generate cash. Well, I wasn't swimming like I had a bone in my engine. I was literally telling other entrepreneurs that I'm a baby alligator and you can eat me. You can take me out. You can bite my foot off. How come? Because I had no preparation to meet my obligations and the decisions that I made outside of the business. And I was just coming to an office to sit here because that is what people do who have a business. They go get an office and they sit there as if the client's going to just walk through the door because I have a business. When other people are out there getting bigger, they're eating constantly. There's 2 things you got to deal with. The alligators that want you out of business that never had an argument with you. And the fact that their customers are actually in their territory and you're going to go there and you could be spending so much money trying to attract 1 to 2% from that larger alligator. And then that larger alligator put you out of business. Number 4, yell for help. As an entrepreneur, it is very disheartening to your loved ones that know that you went out here and started this business. So every time you complain to them about how life's not fair, understand that being an entrepreneur, starting a business is a choice. It's a choice, but you do have to grow your skills. You can't just sit back and complain and yell that there's alligators in the water. We all know that. So if you're building a company today, you must be building a company to remove a company. So you're an alligator that's going to attack alligators as well. Some may be smaller, some may be this, but you're trying to take over territory and you don't have to ask permission. So if you found you got hurt or you pay money to an advertiser, my thing, I always come back to this. Who's on your team who has skills? One of the reasons we started the CFS studios and then the CFS show was to allow you to have someone on your team that actually knows about business that can share things with you. Yes, we do talk from story standpoints because we know stories lock into memory. But for you, you need to make sure that you gain those skills because if you don't, there is a business that's being started to replace you. So a smaller alligator that moved into your territory, you tolerated them not being on the alert, figuring out, wait a minute, where does mudslide come from? Wait, who's that? You got to guard your territory, but you also got to guard it by gaining skills. As you taking over this part of the river, you got to fight to make sure no other entrepreneurs. So everyone that gets started, you want to make sure that they go to their office and they never leave there and they lose money because the landlord makes money, but they ain't making no money. Number 5, accept your fate and quit. If you want to know, ask somebody. I meet a lot of people who got 10 to 20 businesses, and that meant that they got eaten by alligators. They never made themselves whole. One of the key things for today you need to understand is the word whole. Whole means if you put $10,000 into the business, you was able to do enough productivity, excess revenue over profits, that you had retained earnings And if the business doesn't work out, the $10,000 is there that you initially invested from doing products and service to customers. You can get a return of capital, shut the business down, and use this $10,000 to start another one. Not you put $10,000 into the business, you paid yourself W-2 over the years, and then the business is ready to close. You've never got your original $10,000 back, and you confuse payroll payments with the original $10,000. The $10,000 is what you bootstrap the business with. It is not subject to taxation, but at the same time, you never had that back. You closed the business and you was able to pay W-2, but you was never ever to get your $10,000 back. Then you started another business, and this become a vicious cycle. Yes, starting a business, just like going to get a job, you have to understand, if you go get a job, you're going to get W-2. But why is it that so many people, or how come so many people start their own company, and they don't get payroll, and they don't get their money back that they originally invested? How come that keeps happening? Because they lack the skill to understand about being made whole. So on today's show, I want you to really think about that.